Janie here, and today I'm going to be showing you a new to me card fold that's called the WV Fancy Fold. And if it were up to me, I would have given it a prettier name like Concertina Z Fold. But anyways, I learned this fold from my friend Tasha, who's the Crafty Pink Pixie here on YouTube. And she said it was okay if I shared it with my viewers, but I'm still going to put a link to her video down below in the description box. All right, now let's get started. Okay, I have been dying to use this paper pad ever since I got it. I love it so much that I plan on buying more using the 25% off discount code from Kokorosa that you will find below in the description box. So, this is a 10-inch paper pad, and it has 24 pages in it, and it is called Blue Rose, which is obviously the perfect name for it. And when I got it, I was expecting to find a lot of gorgeous papers in it, which I did, and I'll show you those really quickly right now. So there are all of these beautiful papers, but what really surprised me is what I'm going to show you here in a minute, because it's something I wasn't expecting. Like I said, I was expecting these gorgeous papers. I mean, look at these. These are so beautiful. And whoo, look at that one. Okay, these are just gorgeous papers. And I'm going to try to go through this really quick so that I can get to the part that surprised me when I opened this paper pad. And there we go. This is what surprised me. Look at these gorgeous pieces. This is not paper. These are little punch-out pieces. Look at all the gold foiling on them, and they're so beautiful. So you don't have to cut them out. And I'm going to show you on the back so you can see that they are already ready to pop out. And I'm not going to pop them out yet, but they just pop out and are ready to use. And there are 2 pages of them. Look at the gorgeous foiling. Look at the gorgeous flowers. It is so beautiful. I mean, this is ready to make cards. Okay, so you have the papers and the embellishments all in one paper pad. And they are just gorgeous. Okay, so now that I've got that out of my system, let's move on. So besides the beautiful paper to decorate it with, you're going to need a piece of cardstock that is 8.5 by 11. And in all of my cardstock, and trust me, I have enough to start my own store, I could not find the color blue that I wanted for this card. And so I had to get into my good Tim Holtz distress cardstock, which is 12 by 12, in order to find the right color blue. So I'm going to be cutting mine out of this, but just to make it easier, I'm going to show you how to cut it out of the 8.5 by 11. Okay, so besides that, so this will be the card base itself. For the layer, hey, look at that, we could see me. Hello. I am using this foil cardstock from Michael's It's Recollections, and it's going to match beautifully with the gold foil trim on the pieces from that paper pad that I just showed you. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so here is what that cardstock looks like cut. So you're going to have this piece right here, and it is 5 1/4 by 11. And then you're going to need a piece that is 3 by 6. So I cut this piece right here, and it was a little bit wider than 3, so there's that little strip right there that you're not going to need, but you are going to need this piece. And then this will be left over, but hang on to it because you might want to use it for another spot on the card, and you'll see when I make mine what I'm talking about. So that's it. Just 11 inches by 5 1/4 and 3 by 6. And now we're ready to do some scoring. Okay, so our first score line is going to be at 1 3/4. So 1 3/4. And the next score line is going to be at 3 1/2 and 5 1/4 and 7 inches. And we are going to fold this where the very first one, because this is the main back part of the card, we're going to fold that like so. So it looks like a card that folds. Okay, and then the rest of them will go just the opposite. So the first one was a valley. We have mountain. And sorry, I have to turn mine over to see the score line. Okay, so there we go. So we have one left to do, and it's going to be mountain. And so there you have your W. Okay, so this was valley, mountain, and it's going to fold up just like this. We're going to use the bone folder just to make sure that all the folds are good. So there's the W. Now it's time for the V. And the V is the piece that was 6 inches by 3 inches. We're going to score that right in half. You can either fold it or score it, but I like to score, so I'm going to score that at 3 inches. Fold that in half. And now you can see it from that angle. Wait a second there. We have a W and a V. Oh, we could have got really creative and called it the VW card, right? You know, Volkswagen? Okay, so my brain just goes sometimes. You'll have to forgive me. All right, so that is the scoring that needs to be done for this. And now we're going to move on, and I'm going to bring in my blue that has already been done, and we're going to continue with that piece and not this one. And there's my WV, and now we're going to get on to decorating it. Okay, I've got all of the pieces cut out, and then some. And I'm going to explain all of that as I go along, but I'm also going to give you the dimensions. So the first thing I want to explain is, if you're new to my channel, you are probably wondering, why is there a frame? Why do all of these pieces look like frames? Well, that is my paper saving technique, because I hate to waste anything, especially something good like foil cardstock. And so what I do is I use a die, and you can also do this with a paper trimmer, but I cut out the center so that I could use this on another card. And I did the same thing with the squares. I cut out the squares out of the center, and I'll be able to use these on another card, because once you put the next layer on, you will not be able to see that that piece is missing. And you'll see as I'm putting this together. All right, now you'll also see that I have lots of layering pieces here, and I really only wanted 2. The bottom layer, and then a top layer to go over that for the panels. And originally I was going to use the blue, but I accidentally cut out these because it was part of the same paper, and I was just going crazy. And well, now I have 2 sets, and you are going to find out in a little bit what I'm going to do with them. So let's get on to the sizes here. So these are the bottom layers of the panels, and those are 1 5/8 inches by 5 1/8 inches. And then the next layer would be these right here, and let me just grab one and set it on there. And that layer is 1 3/8 by 4 7/8. Now I've done it a little bit different than Tasha. So as you can see, it created a pretty wide border. And I was torn because I kind of wanted to do it the same way she did. But then I thought, you know what, let's see what it looks like with a wider border. And then you'll have a link to her video, and you can see what it looks like with a thinner border. But if you wanted to have a thinner border, you would cut this top one at 1 1/2 inches by 5 inches. So that takes care of those dimensions. And then for this back piece of the card, I cut that at 3 7/8 inches by 5 1/8 inches. And then this layering piece that's going to go over the top of that, I cut that at 3 5/8 inches by 4 7/8 inches. But again, if you wanted a skinnier border, then you would do that at 3 3/4 by 5 inches. So just your choice, and most of you probably already know how to create the layers, so I'm just kind of throwing that out there. And then the squares were cut at 2 7/8 by 2 7/8, and then the layer to go over that was cut at 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. No, mistake. That was your other option. If you wanted a skinnier border, then you would cut it at 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. But I cut these at 2 5/8 by 2 7/8, and I'm hoping I haven't made any other mistakes, so I'll just put it up on the screen as we go along, because I'm trying to keep up with all of my notes as to what sizes everything are for you. And this is one of the cutouts that came with the paper pack, or punch outs, whatever you want to call it. And then I happen to have a gold, dragonfly. And I stuck that sticker on there. I was thinking about putting like a sentiment there, but I chose to put a sticker. And that happens to fit nicely right on top of that. And I've got some other things going on. But now that you know all the dimensions, let's get started putting it together. Okay, I'm going to be using my Beacon 3-in-1. And as usual, the reason I'm using it is because it gives me wiggle room, because I don't always get things laid in the position I want them the first time. So just adding a little here around the edges, and just going to get it put right here in this first panel spot. And luckily I can move it around because I'm trying to make sure I have it exactly where I want it. And one of the ways to do that is to fold it back so I can see the edges. And I've got that in, and I'm going to do the same thing on all of these. Okay, so I've got those done, and because of the glare it was easier to do that off camera. And now I'm going to add this piece to the back. Okay, so we've got that done, and now it's time to put on the layers. So which one am I going to use? Well, you know what? I'm going to do that off camera and surprise you, but I'm just going to show you that I'll be gluing them. So I'll grab one and show you that I'm just going to glue it on just like that, whether it's that one or this one. I'm just going to glue it onto each one of these panels, and then I'll be back and I'll glue in that last piece. Okay, I went with both. I alternated them, and you know, that's what I was torn about. So I actually talked to a really good friend and my daughter, and they liked it this way also. But when you see the card all complete, I want you to leave me a comment below letting me know which way you would have done it. Okay, now we're going to put this piece on. Okay, there you go. And it isn't finished yet, but that's what it's going to look like so far. Okay, so this is our little piece that is now 3 inches by 3 inches, but it's not going to open like this, like a normal card. It's actually going to be going the opposite direction, and so this is going to be the front of the card, and this is where the sentiment is going to go. So I'm going to glue these pieces on. There's that. That's going to be the front of the card. So that is where this piece is going to go. So there we go. That is the front. And now I'm going to go do the same thing to the back. I'm going to put this on, and then I used that same cardstock or paper, and I stamped a sentiment on it. So I will be putting that over the top, and you will see when I come back. Okay, we have all of the pieces done and ready to put together. And the way that this is going to work is that you're going to take the front of this card and attach it to the front panel, but not all the way over. Do it right about in the middle. And you can do that with double-sided tape, but I prefer to use my Beacon 3-in-1, which means I will have to let it dry a little bit so that there's, you know, no sliding on here, because we're going to be doing that same thing to the back. Well, not to the back, but right there. Okay, but you'll see. I will show you. So I'm going to do the front first, and I am just putting my glue just along the edge. Okay, you don't have to put a lot. I mean, what I mean is you don't have to go in a lot, you know, a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close this up for the moment. I'm going to slide that in, and I am going to guess that that is right about half, right there. And I'm making sure that everything is lined up even, because it has to be lined up on this side as well. You don't want it to be wonky over here. You want it to be a nice edge. So I'm going to hold that for a minute. Beacon dries really quick, you know, has quick tack, but because there's going to be tension on this, I don't want it to move it. So I'll be right back. Okay, that was actually a quick minute. So we've done that. All we have to do is turn it over, and you can see right where this is going to go. So just like with the front, I am just going to add some glue down here. My bottle's getting empty, so it takes it a minute to come down there. Okay, so got some glue on there. And I am just going to fold it right over, and it should land perfectly where it belongs. Oops, I oozed a little glue out. Thank goodness for glue erasers. Actually, thank goodness for Beacon. It just rubs off. You'll notice me rubbing my fingers because it just rubs right off. Okay, so I'm going to let that sit for a minute. Okay, and it opens up like that. So it's a W and a V, which is how it got its name. But it's absolutely gorgeous. And I'm not done yet, though. Okay, so I just wanted to point out that so far I've done one thing different than Tasha did, which is a wider border. And now I'm going to do something else different. I'm actually going to add another panel back here. So let me grab it. I'm going to add another one right back there. And the way to do that is just to make sure that it doesn't show. So I actually cut this a little bit smaller than, well, actually not a lot smaller, but a little bit smaller than what's there. So I'm not going to have that blue background behind this. It's just going to be the gold going straight down on here. So all I want to do is make sure that it is behind there. So I'm going to kind of put it down like this, see that it's behind, open it up, and get an idea of where it needs to go. And I can see that it's in about 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch right there. So I think I am a pretty good judge of where this is going to fit. Of course, I need my glue to find its way down to the tip. And I actually have something I can sit it in to keep the glue down there, but I don't always remember. You know, don't always remember. Okay, so let me just kind of bring this over again. Okay, so we're going to call it right about there, because I kind of want it centered anyway. So I'm going to put it there. I'm going to close that for a minute. Yep, it doesn't show. So we'll just get that down. And then the rest of my sentiment, which I actually left space here for me to sign it, otherwise I would have centered that. And I'm going to glue that right on there. And so this is something that Tasha didn't do. And that's why I want you to watch her video as well, because I want you to see, you know, the different ways of doing this. You know, there are different options, and you can see which one you like best, or you like them both, and you just know that you can do it either way. So I'm going to stick that right there. And I also, this is one of the little punch outs from that paper pad. So pretty. It has the gold sparkle, not sparkle, gold foil on there. And I really wanted to use this, and I don't know if I want to stick it right there or right there. See, if I stick it there, it's going to show. So I don't think that's going to work. I could stick it over here on this corner right there, and still, yep, it'll hide behind there and still leave me room to sign. Oh, decisions, decisions. Am I going to put it there or am I going to put it there? It does hide. You know what? I think I'm going to put it there. I just think that's what I'm going to do. I can't ask my daughter and my friend for all the advice. I have to make some choices of my own. So that is what I'm doing. But I still have to make sure I'm leaving room to sign it. So let me make sure that's still hidden. Okay, and it is. Okay. There we go. So isn't this just a gorgeous card? Oh my gosh, I love this card fold and I love this paper pack so much. I'm definitely going to be making more cards with that. But there you go, a WV fancy fold card. So I will have a link to Tasha's video down in the description box. Don't miss it. I might even put it on the screen here. So watch for it. Thank you all so much for stopping by today, and I hope you stop by Tasha's YouTube channel and video, which are both linked below in the description box, as well as links to Kokorosa and my page on their website that includes the blue rose paper pad that I used today. And there's also a 25% off discount code for you. Happy crafting, everyone. Bye-bye.